If you have been struggling quietly for a long time, it is completely natural to want to share your breakthroughs the moment they finally begin arriving. After carrying pain in silence, after surviving seasons where nobody fully understood what you were battling internally, there is a part of you that longs to finally say, "Look, something good is finally happening for me." That desire is deeply human, because when people spend long periods feeling unseen, overlooked, or emotionally exhausted, even small moments of progress can feel incredibly meaningful. A new opportunity, a new sense of peace, a financial improvement, emotional healing, a relationship finally aligning. After darkness, even small light feels overwhelming. And naturally, you want to celebrate it. You want people to know your prayers were not wasted. Your efforts were not meaningless. Your suffering did not last forever. Part of you wants visible confirmation that life is finally shifting in a better direction. But this is where spiritual maturity begins teaching a deeper lesson. Not every blessing needs immediate exposure. Some things arrive fragile at first. Not weak, but developing. Like roots forming beneath the surface before a tree becomes strong enough to withstand storms publicly. And one of the hardest things for emotionally genuine people is learning that excitement must sometimes be protected before it is fully revealed. Because the moment something beautiful begins growing inside your life, outside opinions immediately begin attaching themselves to it. Expectations, doubts, jealousy, fear, projection. Even well-meaning people can unintentionally place emotional pressure on things that are still trying to stabilize quietly. That is why heaven sometimes asks people to stay silent during their most important seasons. Not because joy should be hidden forever, but because growth requires protection while it is still becoming rooted. And honestly, many people struggle with silence because sharing has become emotionally connected to validation. We announce things partly because we want reassurance. We want others to celebrate us, encourage us, confirm that what is happening matters. But true spiritual confidence begins developing when peace no longer depends on immediate external recognition. There is something powerful about holding a blessing quietly and allowing yourself to experience it fully before opening it to public energy. Something sacred about protecting what God is building instead of rushing to display it before it has fully matured. And if this resonates with you, think about how many beautiful things in nature grow silently first. Seeds grow underground. Healing happens internally before it becomes visible externally. Even dawn arrives gradually before the world fully recognizes the light. Your life may be entering a season like that now. A season where things are finally beginning to shift, but where wisdom is asking you to move gently, quietly, and intentionally. Not every open door needs an immediate announcement. Not every breakthrough needs an audience. And not every blessing becomes stronger through exposure. Sometimes the most protected seasons produce the strongest transformations later. One of the most overlooked realities about growth is that not everyone can handle witnessing your transformation with a pure heart. And this does not always mean people are evil or intentionally harmful. Sometimes people simply project their own fears, insecurities, disappointments, or limitations onto what they do not fully understand. That is why sharing things too early can become spiritually draining without you realizing it immediately. The moment you announce a new dream, a new opportunity, or a new blessing, you expose something fragile to outside energy. Suddenly opinions begin forming. Questions begin appearing. Doubt enters spaces where peace was quietly growing before. Even subtle reactions from people can affect your emotional clarity if you are still in the early stages of building confidence around what God is doing in your life. And many times, people speak from the level of awareness they currently live in. Someone who gave up on their own dreams may unintentionally discourage yours. Someone who fears change may question your next step. Someone who secretly struggles with comparison may smile publicly while internally feeling uncomfortable watching your life evolve. This is why discernment matters deeply during seasons of breakthrough. Not everyone who has access to your presence should automatically have access to your future. Because fragile things require protection, while they are developing strength. Imagine constantly digging up a seed to show people its progress before it has fully rooted. The exposure itself interrupts the growth process. Spiritually, the same thing can happen when blessings are announced before they become emotionally stable inside you. You begin seeking reassurance instead of trusting the process. You start measuring your excitement through other people's reactions. And if those reactions feel doubtful, jealous, dismissive, or lukewarm, your own confidence can become shaken unnecessarily. That is why silence is sometimes wisdom, not secrecy, especially for chosen ones who are entering new seasons after long periods of struggle. Your spirit may already sense that something important is forming internally, but that does not mean every person around you is prepared to understand it yet. And honestly, some people only know how to interact with the version of you that was struggling, the version that felt small, predictable, accessible. Your growth forces certain people to confront their own stagnation emotionally, and not everyone responds gracefully to that discomfort. This is why premature exposure can create resistance before stability. You may notice this already in small ways. The moment you share excitement about something meaningful, certain conversations suddenly feel heavy. Some people become strangely quiet. Others offer disguised negativity through concern. Some begin subtly planting doubt where hope was beginning to grow. And while their words may seem small externally, energy affects people more deeply than most realize. That does not mean you should become fearful or paranoid about others. It simply means wisdom knows when to protect sacred things privately until they are strong enough to stand on their own. If this resonates with you, pay attention to how peaceful your spirit feels before versus after sharing certain plans too early. Sometimes the anxiety you feel afterward is not coincidence. It is your intuition recognizing that something was exposed before it was fully rooted internally. God often develops people privately before revealing them publicly for this exact reason. Because when something has been strengthened deeply in silence, outside opinions lose their power to uproot it later. And perhaps your next chapter does not need immediate applause right now. Perhaps it needs quiet protection long enough to become undeniable on its own. There is a difference between hiding out of fear and remaining quiet out of wisdom. Fear stays silent because it doubts itself. Wisdom stays silent because it understands timing. And many chosen ones are entering a season where heaven is teaching them the spiritual power of quiet growth. Because some of the strongest things God creates begin completely unseen. Roots grow underground long before trees become visible. A child develops in darkness before entering the world. Healing happens internally before it changes someone externally. Nature itself understands that what is still forming requires protection before exposure. Your life is no different. Right now, something may be stabilizing quietly inside you. A new mindset, a deeper peace, a financial breakthrough, emotional healing, a calling, a vision for your future that still feels delicate in your hands. And while part of you wants to announce it immediately, another part of you feels strangely guided towards silence. That feeling is not accidental, because silence can become a spiritual shield, not against people themselves, but against unnecessary noise, against emotional confusion, against outside pressure entering a process that still needs room to breathe naturally. One of the most dangerous things about constant exposure is that it trains people to seek validation before development. Many people announce dreams before building discipline, announce healing before finding stability, announce transformation before becoming rooted internally. But true growth often deepens in hidden places first. And there is something profoundly strengthening about learning how to nurture joy privately, to pray privately, to build quietly, to allow your relationship with God, your purpose, and your peace to mature without immediately needing public confirmation. That kind of silence develops inner authority. Because when your spirit stops depending on constant external encouragement, your faith becomes steadier. Your confidence becomes less fragile. Your identity becomes less controlled by applause, criticism, or comparison. You begin trusting what God showed you even before others understand it. That is spiritual maturity. And honestly, some blessings lose energy when they are spoken too early. Not because words are cursed, but because human attention often interrupts sacred focus. Suddenly your mind becomes crowded with opinions, expectations, and explanations instead of remaining connected to the quiet clarity where the vision first arrived. This is why some seasons require less talking and more protecting, less explaining, less proving, less announcing, and more listening internally. If this resonates with you, notice how peaceful certain parts of your life become when you stop exposing everything to public discussion. Some things grow healthier in privacy. Some breakthroughs become stronger when they are watered through discipline instead of attention. You do not need everyone to understand what God is building in your life right now. In fact, some people will only understand your transformation after it has already fully bloomed. And that is okay, because not every chapter is meant to be lived publicly while it is still being written. There is a sacred confidence that develops when you quietly carry a blessing without constantly checking whether others approve of it. You become calmer emotionally, more grounded, more connected to purpose instead of performance. And eventually, your results begin speaking with a strength that explanations never could. But before that happens, silence protects the roots. So if heaven has been guiding you toward privacy lately, do not mistake that for isolation. You are not being hidden because your future lacks value. You are being protected while your spirit develops the strength to carry what is coming next. One of the most challenging parts of protecting your next chapter is learning how to remain private without becoming cold. Because as your life begins shifting, people naturally become curious. They notice changes in your energy. They sense new confidence, new peace, new focus. And often, even before you say anything directly, others can feel that something is changing around you. That curiosity can create pressure. People ask questions. They want details. They want access to your plans, your relationships, your progress, your next move. And if you are naturally open-hearted, you may feel guilty withholding information. You may worry that silence makes you seem distant, secretive, or unfriendly. But discernment is not dishonesty. You are allowed to protect sacred parts of your life while still remaining kind. In fact, one of the deepest signs of emotional maturity is realizing that access should be earned through alignment, not granted automatically through familiarity. Just because someone has known you for years does not necessarily mean they are spiritually equipped to handle every new thing unfolding in your life. Some people only know how to relate to the older version of you. And when they sense your growth, they unconsciously try to pull you back toward the identity they feel most comfortable with. Not always maliciously. Sometimes simply because change disrupts the emotional roles people became used to. That is why discernment matters so much during seasons of transformation. Not every question requires a full answer. Not every curiosity deserves complete access. And not every relationship can safely hold your dreams. There is wisdom in learning how to smile without oversharing, how to remain warm without exposing every private detail, how to answer gently while still protecting your peace internally. Because the truth is, some people listen to understand you, while others listen to measure themselves against you. Some celebrate your growth sincerely, while others become uncomfortable the moment your life begins expanding beyond the version they expected you to remain in. And your spirit can usually feel the difference if you pay attention closely enough. This does not mean you become paranoid or isolated. Healthy discernment is calm, not fearful. It simply means you stop handing delicate parts of your life to people who have repeatedly shown they cannot hold them with care. Even Jesus did not reveal everything to everyone. There are seasons where wisdom asks you to speak selectively, move intentionally, and protect your emotional clarity from unnecessary influence. Because once too many voices enter your process, it becomes harder to hear your own intuition clearly. And honestly, part of spiritual growth is learning that privacy can coexist with love. You do not owe complete transparency to every person simply to prove you are genuine. Some things belong between you and God until the timing is ready. Some blessings need room to mature before they can survive public energy comfortably. If this resonates with you, allow yourself to release the guilt attached to protecting your peace. You are not selfish for becoming more discerning. You are becoming responsible for the emotional atmosphere surrounding your life. And sometimes the healthiest thing you can say during a season of growth is simply, everything is unfolding beautifully, without needing to explain every detail behind it. Because the people truly aligned with your spirit will not require constant access to honor your journey. Real support does not demand control. Real love does not punish healthy boundaries. And the more your soul matures, the more you realize that protecting your peace is not rejection of others. It is stewardship of yourself. There is something deeply transformative about learning how to hold good things quietly. Not because you are hiding your joy, but because your soul is no longer dependent on immediate validation to feel secure. That is one of the clearest signs of emotional and spiritual maturity. In earlier seasons of life, many people feel an urgent need to announce every breakthrough the moment it happens. Every opportunity, every relationship, every new beginning. Part of that urgency often comes from excitement, but another part quietly comes from needing reassurance. Wanting others to confirm that what is happening is important, valuable, or real. But as the soul matures, something begins shifting internally. You stop needing constant witnesses to feel confident in your blessings. You begin understanding that not every beautiful thing loses value simply because it exists privately for a while. In fact, some experiences become even more meaningful when they are protected from outside noise long enough to fully settle into your spirit. And this changes the way you move emotionally. You become calmer, less reactive, less eager to prove yourself. You stop rushing to explain your growth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you anyway. You stop seeking permission to evolve. Instead, you quietly continue building, quietly healing, quietly preparing, quietly becoming. That quietness develops strength many people never fully reach because they spend too much of their energy managing public perception. But when your joy is no longer dependent on applause, your spirit becomes emotionally free in a completely different way. Because now your peace belongs to you, not to public approval, not to temporary attention, not to the opinions of people who cannot see your full journey. And honestly, there is a sacred confidence that develops when you learn how to celebrate life internally before externally. A confidence rooted in alignment instead of performance. You begin trusting your relationship with God more deeply because you are no longer constantly looking sideways for confirmation. That trust creates stability. You may even notice yourself becoming more emotionally independent lately. Not disconnected from people, but less emotionally controlled by their reactions. Compliments no longer define you. Doubt no longer destabilizes you as easily. Even criticism loses some of its power because your identity is becoming rooted internally instead of externally. This is what happens when the soul matures. It stops chasing noise and starts protecting peace. And the beautiful thing is that quiet growth often creates the strongest foundations. A person who learns how to move with patience, discernment, and emotional steadiness develops resilience that public validation alone could never build. Because applause is temporary, but inner stability remains. If this resonates with you, pay attention to how much stronger your spirit has become compared to previous seasons of your life. There were times when rejection would have shattered your confidence completely. Times when outside opinions controlled your emotional state for days. Times when silence from others made you question your worth. But now something inside you is becoming steadier, more grounded, more peaceful, more certain. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because your soul is learning how to stand without constantly leaning on external reassurance. And perhaps that is part of why heaven has been guiding you towards silence lately. Not to isolate you from others, but to strengthen your connection with yourself, your purpose, and God before the next chapter fully unfolds. Because when blessings finally arrive publicly, you will already possess something even more valuable privately. a spirit that no longer needs attention to believe it is worthy. At some point, the things you have been building quietly will begin speaking for themselves, not through bragging, not through forcing attention, not through proving yourself endlessly to people who doubted you, but naturally, calmly, undeniably, because real alignment eventually becomes visible without needing constant explanation. And one of the most peaceful moments in spiritual growth is realizing you no longer feel the need to announce every victory for it to feel meaningful. Your joy becomes deeper because it is rooted in gratitude instead of performance. Your confidence becomes steadier because it was developed privately before the world ever noticed it publicly. That kind of success carries a different energy, a quieter energy, a grounded energy, an energy that no longer seeks approval because it already found peace internally. There may still be people who misunderstand your silence. Some may assume you became distant. Others may feel confused because they expected constant access to your life. But over time, your results will explain what your silence was protecting. Healthy relationships will survive your boundaries. Aligned people will respect your peace. And the life God is building for you will not require endless defense once it fully arrives. Because what is truly meant for you eventually becomes evident through consistency, stability, and peace, not noise. And honestly, many chosen ones discover that their greatest breakthroughs happened during seasons where almost nobody knew what they were building. While the world assumed little was happening, heaven was strengthening roots privately. Discipline was forming privately. Wisdom was developing privately. Healing was unfolding privately. That hidden season was not emptiness. It was preparation. If this resonates with you, do not become discouraged by how quiet your journey currently feels. Some of the most important chapters of your life may still be unfolding beneath the surface right now. Just because others cannot fully see it, yet does not mean nothing meaningful is happening. Trust what God is developing in silence. Trust the peace that comes from protecting your spirit instead of exposing everything prematurely. Trust the wisdom that no longer needs constant recognition to feel secure. Because eventually, your life will speak with a clarity that explanations never could. People will notice the peace in your energy, the stability in your spirit, the maturity in your presence, the quiet confidence that no longer needs validation to survive. And when that moment arrives, you will understand why heaven asked you to move carefully during this season. Not to hide your light forever, but to protect it long enough for it to become strong enough to shine without fear. So keep building quietly, keep healing quietly, keep trusting quietly, because the strongest blessings often begin in silence before they eventually step into the light on their own.